Hey, so we're back with more of the Power Mac G4. No longer a mystery to anyone who watched the first video. I got some upgrades, and I'm going to show you what they are and show you and tell you why I got the upgrades. So, what do we got? So, first small thing. It's the CMOS battery. I forget what the PRAM battery. It is a half AA is what they're called. And yeah, it needs a new one of these because the computer thinks it is 1969, which is nice, but it's not true. I also got this, which isn't going to be immediately needed, but it is a DVI to HDMI adapter. Bought that because eventually, if I can get Red Faction 1 for Mac running on this, I don't have a capture card that can take VGA or DVI, but I do have a capture card that can take HDMI, so hopefully that will work. And over the weekend, I got this little card thing, not the hard drive, but just this little card. So the Power Mac G4 uses IDE, I believe it's called, hard drive connectors. So that's what this is, and here's the Molex power connector, and it goes into SATA power and data connectors. So this came from the Goodwill PC from, I did a series on a $20 PC I got from Goodwill, and this was the original hard drive in it. I upgraded it to 2 SSDs. SSDs would be a bit of a overkill on a computer from '99, so I figured I'd try to use this. I don't have anything to reformat it before I put it in, so hopefully I'll be able to get it to a point where at least I can reformat it in on the Mac, but we'll see. And the last thing, so the Power Mac G4, I think it currently has 125 megs of RAM, megs, not gigs. So I looked up and I found the original manual for Power Mac G4s, specifically for my model, and it could take up to 1.5 gigs of RAM. So I got this. It's from the brand Memory Masters, and I got it from eBay, and it is a 1 gig set, 2 512 sticks of PC100 RAM. So hopefully it'll work, and let's try that out. And I realized that I didn't really go over the I/O in this machine. So, what do we got? Power button, obviously. That's pretty universal. Here's a speaker. I think that's where that Max startup sound comes from, because I don't have any speakers connected to this or in my monitor. To be honest, I don't know what these are yet. I've not had to use them. And this 5 1/4 bay is blank, but this, let's see, is a DVD. It just says DVD-ROM, so I'm guessing it's not DVD-RW, but I have tried it, and it does work. And it even has headphones, and how would you even, oh, there's a little cutout. Yeah, Mac tends to think about stuff like this. A little cutout for your headphone jack, I guess, and volume on there. So there's nothing on this side of the case. This is how you open it, but let's look at the back I/O first. Okay, so we got the power supply fan, power in. This is, if older PC users would know this, but this goes to a monitor typically. You can power your monitor straight through the power supply through the computer. I don't know if anybody does that anymore, but I'm not doing it this time even. So, but that was a thing back in the day. Okay, here we got 1, 2, FireWire. I've never used FireWire. I don't even know if it is still used for anything at all, but I don't plan on using it. Here is our Ethernet. So that's good. I'm not sure what the connection speed is, but I have connected this to the internet, and it does connect, but it looks pretty bad because it's This is running on Mac OS 9. In the first video, it showed it starting on Mac OS 10, but I found out that Red Faction 1, while it is supported, there's a patch to make it to run in Mac OS 10. It was made for Mac OS 9, so I couldn't install Red Faction 1 on Mac OS 10, and at the moment, I can't get it to run on Mac OS 9 either. But I'm working on a solution to that, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work. So, okay, well, we have those Ethernet. We have two USB 1.1, incredibly slow if you're using it for data transfer. But there's an option to put in a PCI card for USB 2.0. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. We'll see. And it even has this, boys and girls and non-binary pals, is a phone line jack. Presumably for dial-up. I don't know, maybe for faxes. I doubt it. But presumably for dial-up is what that would have been in the back in the day. So that's kind of a relic of the past now for most people. If you have an area that supports 5G, 4G, whatever. So, yeah, that was kind of nostalgia to see a dial-up port on there. And then, of course, we have microphone and speakers. And I saw this in the eBay listing, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that that's a graphics card. I'm pretty sure it's a graphics card. So here we have VGA and DVI. But thankfully, I was correct, as we'll see when I open it up. So this has a very, at the time it was very unique design, and I think it's still pretty unique. The only reason I pause is because they made more of these. They used this design for several years for Power Macs, and I actually really like it. It's enormous, but I kind of like it. Now, let me show you how you open this. I showed this in the previous video, and yeah, it sounds terrible, so bear with me. There we go. And there we go. And that's what that right there is, it's not a motherboard, because Mac has to be different, be its own thing. On a Mac, this is called a logic board, not a motherboard. Right here is the processor, which is actually slotted. It's not, modern processors on PCs, I think on Macs, are socketed where it's a little more difficult to switch them out. But this is socketed. This is the 350 megahertz version of the Power Mac G4 processor. It is not very fast. I already looked, and I can get the 450 megahertz version, which is the second from the fastest available for this model. I'm going to try to run Red Faction 1 on this, and we'll see if it works. Here's the RAM. 128 megs, I think. We'll know for sure in a second before I switch it out for more. And yep, here is the graphics card. It is an ATI, let's see. There we go. ATI Rage something or other. That's a graphics card. That's the graphics card that these came with. But we also have 3 more PCI slots, not PCIe, but PCI. And here is the dead CMOS battery. Here's the hard drive connector. It is, you can see here, this is the connector, what it looks like. It's IDE. And there's the hard drive. It is a Western Digital 102AA, 10 gigabyte. Very small. As I was trying to put on Red Faction, I was deleting things left and right, applications, and I think I might have deleted my ability to switch back to OS 10, actually. But that's okay, because I don't need Mac OS 10, but yeah, but hopefully the new, the hard drive from the Goodwill PC will fix that issue, and I won't have to, try to figure out where I'm going to get space from. Here is the CD drive. There's nothing in this bottom bay other than they used it for cable management, which was, you know, that's what I did in my Goodwill PC. The single fan, I think that's the only fan in here. It does get pretty hot, actually, because I was, you know, messing around with it like this, and this, it didn't get too hot to the touch. But I mean, look at this. This is a pretty impressive passive cooler. It doesn't have a fan like a modern CPU cooler, but it has a passive cooler, as you can see. And under that, I'm not going to take it off, but under that is the processor, obviously. So I think that's everything. Just trying to give you a good free listen, or a clear listen to old computer sounds. Now we are going to unplug the power supply. Now, it's first thing, very easy thing. I'm going to take out that old CMOS battery. Give me a second. I'm going to want both hands for this. Okay, here's the new one. Got this off of Amazon, 3.6 volts, size 1/2 AA, etc., etc. And thankfully it shows, can you see? Yes, positive on that side, negative on that side. So positive is, yep, it's the side with the little jut out. So drop that in, and this is something called a PRAM switch. And for whatever reason, I've read when you change the CMOS battery, you want to hit this PRAM switch. Did I hit it? It doesn't have a satisfying click or anything. There we go. I got it. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's see what kind of RAM we have. So here it is, and I'm going to take it out. Give me a sec. Kind of an odd mix here. More than I thought it had, because here are two 256, so there's 512. Here is a Samsung. It doesn't say what it is. If I can find it, I'll put it up as text in the video when I show that. And then this looks like 16 megs. Very odd. Or maybe it's 64 megs. 16MX64? I don't know. But odd mix. So, there is a trick to this. As you can see, these are all the same color. In modern PCs, if you have 4 slots, usually it's dual channel. And 2 of them usually offset, like the first and the third would be one color, and then the second and the fourth would be another. For this, there's no such thing as multi-channel. But you are supposed to, from what I read, put them in a certain order, like smallest to largest or largest to smallest. And let me reread that real quick. Okay, so the new RAM is in. I'm not sure if that got recorded or if just a picture was taken, but I couldn't figure out which order it's supposed to go, largest to smallest or smallest to largest. I can't imagine it makes that big of a difference, especially if I can find anything about it. But we have our two 512 meg units here, and these are from Memory Masters, which I think might be a Chinese company, but it's sold off of eBay. And these are Crucial sticks, 256 meg Crucial PC100 sticks. So I think that's a gig and a half. 512, 256, 256. Pretty sure that's a gig and a half. And what I read, you also, if you switch this battery and if you switch the RAM, you're supposed to hit this switch here, the PRAM switch. Okay, well, let's see if this thing starts back up. And there it is. You can see there, built-in memory 1.5 gigs. So we're good. It recognizes the full 1.5 gigs of RAM. So this should dramatically increase the speed of this, like installing Red Faction and doing other things. But we'll see. Next, I'm gonna try to see if I can get that hard drive from the Goodwill PC to just play nice. But this is Mac versus PC we're talking about. It might not recognize it unless I format it outside of this computer. But let's see. So let's see if it'll play nice. I don't have high hopes, to be honest, but we'll see. And just as I thought, that hard drive did not play nice. Getting this error, which I read up, says that it doesn't have the right startup image or whatever. So I'll try to figure that out.
Mars.
Second work shift has ended. Miners return to barracks.
It's over.
Hey, so what's going on with the PowerMac G4? Well, as you saw, I did install Red Faction 1, and I think it took about 2 hours, even with the new RAM in it. And the cutscenes work fine, but they are on the disk. It's reading from the disk rather than whatever's installed, because you have to have the second disk in the disk tray for it to run. But as you saw, there was this weird yellow, like fog of war is what I call it. No idea what happened there. And I asked around a little bit about it, and the only possible thing that someone said is possibly it's a bad graphics card or corrupt graphics. I think it also could be a bad install of Red Faction 1 itself. So what am I doing about it? I am planning on putting in a faster processor. As I said earlier in this video, this model of the G4 came with several different processor options. I have the slowest one, 350. It also came with 400, 450, or 500. And if you have a later G4 PowerMac, it actually went up to over a gigahertz. But the 500 megahertz is really difficult to find, especially for a good price. I think there was one available for like $50 on eBay, which for a processor, that's not a bad price. But I was able to get the 450 megahertz one for less than $30. So that's on the way. So what else? I bought a 128 gigabyte SSD to put in it, and that should also make it faster. It still has to go over IDE, because it's not like it's still over SATA cable. But I've heard that should make things faster, even going over IDE cable. And so that was $10, because who wants a 128 gigabyte internal SSD? And finally, there's one other thing that I got, is I bought a bigger graphics card. Right now it has the ATI Rage Pro 128 with 16 gigs of, 16 megs, excuse me. 16 gigs would be a lot for today even. 16 megs of VRAM. And I bought the ATI Radeon Pro 9000, I think it's called. And that is the model that came in later, G4, PowerMac G4s. And it has 64 megs of VRAM. So hopefully that'll work. Again, this was really cheap. I think I got it for $25. What's nice about this era of computers, for now at least, is they're not really as collectible as, say, early 90s computers or later computers. You know, when I was buying stuff for my Goodwill PC, I wasn't dealing with prices this low. So the whole thing, you know, this is my first Mac I've ever had. And it's not just my first Mac, it's my first Apple product, period. I've never had an iPhone. I'm an Android guy. I've never had a Mac. I am a PC guy. The only reason I have this is to play Red Faction 1 for Mac, because it's supposed to be slightly different. I don't know if it actually is much different, but I want to try it. And it's a bit like, I'm a Protestant, and it's a bit like I'm in the Vatican playing with their holy relics, because I'm not part of the Mac community. And it's not like I am saying, oh, Mac is terrible, never buy a Mac. Macs are good for video editing, music editing, from what I've heard. I do my video editing on a PC, but, I don't make money from this. I'm not a pro by any stretch. It's just, I think PCs work for what I need a computer for. So, the things that I'm running into, I recognize that these are not Mac specific problems. I was born in the late 80s, so I have experienced problems like this on PCs from the same period. I had an E-Machines for a long time, till 2003, I believe, and it was pretty slow when it came out, and it was really slow by the time we replaced it in 2003. So these problems are not specific to the Mac structure, whatever. But thankfully, it's kind of weird, but I can look back in these forums and see, people asking about these issues, and it's like, oh, well, this. Some of the forums, just like it is for game forums sometimes, they're like, well, obviously it's this. Why don't, you're an idiot if you think any differently. And those are unhelpful forums for sure. I don't know what I'm going to do with this computer when I'm done with it. I do respect it as a good example of Mac history. So I would really feel nasty inside if I ripped out the internals and tried to turn it into a PC case, because I love that case. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to sell it on once I'm done what I've done with what I want to do with Red Faction 1 for Mac. But we'll see. And I will bring you along as I put the new hard drive in. Try to get Mac OS 9 to install on the new hard drive. Put in the new processor. That should be interesting. I've never done a processor before, but like I said earlier in the video, they're much easier to switch out than modern processors. And put the new graphics card in. And hopefully that works, and we don't have any more yellow fog of war in Red Faction 1, and I can actually play it. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and I will be back with some more. Maybe not for a while, because Christmas is coming up, so it's going to be a busy time of year, but maybe in January I should have more videos coming up about the Power Mac G4 with the new parts. Thank you for watching.